As the world was all geared up for the Barbieheimer weekend, a controversy broke out on Twitter against Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, Oppenheimer, a film about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of atomic bombs. A scene nearly 20 minutes into the film, spoiler alert for you, involves an intimate scene between Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy, and Jean Tatlock, played by Florence Pugh. The titillating scene involves Oppenheimer reading out a verse from the Holy Bhagavad Gita, and the intimate scene resumes. The verse is translated from Sanskrit as, I quote, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of the worlds," unquote.
The scene is basically between Robert Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy, and his girlfriend at that point. Her name is Jean. I forget her last name. But it's basically like they've met at a party, and I think they're like engaged in sexual intercourse, like they're having sex. And I think just as a matter of like, I think teasing him, Jean asks him to like read. She's actually like, I think it's just a power dynamic, at this point, while they're having sex. And I think she's just basically, like teasing him about, like uh, reading Sanskrit. And he says that, yeah, I am actually like reading the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, I am interested. Oppenheimer is shown to be this, like very erudite man who picks up languages on a whim. And it turns out that he's also like learning Sanskrit at that point, and he's reading Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit. And she just like, as a matter of chance, she just like asks him to like read this verse. And when he tries to explain it to her, she's like, no, give me the literal, give me the transliteration of what the verse means. And which is when he gives the quote of, like, I become death, and the destroyer of the worlds, which is like the immortal lines. It's, I mean, obviously nobody can like vouch for, like this is obviously like a creative liberty that Nolan has taken. But I mean, I think, I personally think that it really works in favor of the film. Is that yeah, obviously our INB minister doesn't probably agree with that. I think creatively, when, I mean, like when this scene is recalled at the very crucial juncture when the Trinity tests take place, it really worked for me. Creatively, I think it really works for me in terms of like him recalling this very intimate moment that he had with his partner, and him basically realizing that, like what he had read in the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, it comes back to him when he witnesses the magnitude of what he's created, the blasts of the atom bomb. I think it works creatively, but that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, the problem over here, the question isn't about whether it was necessary or not. I think the more pressing question over here is why not? Why are we being so touchy about? I mean, it is our religious texts, apparently, like according, if our INB minister is to be believed. And I understand like why, some people might take offense, but I personally think that it's a very irreverent way to deal with, what could have been a very dry academic scene. Him reading a book and him chancing upon that quote. It gives a lot more like dramatic heft when he's with his partner and she's actually teasing him to like, as almost like a challenge that translate this verse for me. And he does it. And which is why it also like works for me dramatically. It informs me why it stayed with him, because it was obviously like a memorable night for him, number one, and it's a memorable moment in his life, which is why he remembers that quote at such a crucial juncture later in life. I personally think that the CBSE is, like kind of like trying to eat its cake and have it too, because they've I'm assuming they've signed off. They've given the UA certificate that you're mentioning, and now after some Twitter handles have taken cognizance of how this is this is upset our religious beliefs. The CBSE is kind of like, I mean, not the CBSE obviously, but the INB minister is trying to do some kind of damage control over here by saying that like, I'm going to pull someone up from the CBSE. I don't know how this scene got through, and we're anyway. I mean, creative expression in our country is already like pretty in a pretty deteriorated state anyway over the last 9 years or so. So I mean, it's actually like, I was personally quite surprised that this scene made it through, but it's also obviously I mean, the way they have covered her up in a later scene, like using VFX. I think it's almost, I mean, the way they've vandalized uh, the filmmaker's work. And I don't think I mean, it's obviously like censorship is like a massive issue. We'll have a different conversation on that. But I think what they've done over here by hacking the film, it is, I mean, they've kind of like committed, like they vandalized the film by putting like religion on such a pedestal is never the right way to go forward anyway. I mean, in a film industry where, especially through a CBFC, that like that lets go so much violence and so many double meaning dialogues. It lets it slide through so much misogyny. It's actually quite convenient that like the scissors come out for religious freedom.
This sequence has irked Hindu nationalist sentiments in India, and demands to take down and censor the scene has arisen. On July 22nd, Government of India's Information Commissioner and founder of Save Culture, Save India Foundation, Uday Mahurkar, retweeted a tweet by the foundation that called the scene morally inappropriate and demanded the Information and Broadcast Ministry to investigate the matter and restore the sanctity of the Holy Gita. The Information Commissioner also issued an open letter to director Nolan, calling out the scene to be a quote-unquote scathing attack on Hinduism. Union Information and Broadcast Minister Anurag Thakur has responded to the issue. He has held the Central Board of Film Certification responsible and has asked the board for an explanation on how they cleared the movie, retaining the scene. He has also asked for a corrective action to be taken. According to reports, the minister has also said that those who cleared the film should be held accountable.
I was not very surprised by the response of the government or the minister, because there is this government or the ministers of this government do not have any regard for the autonomy of any institution, and that was proved by the statement of the minister. He expressed his displeasure, or as media reports, that he took to task the members of the censor board, as it is called, which certifies movies. The minister, in normal times, the minister would have said the board is autonomous and it takes a decision and we will respect it. And if a private citizen or a group has any issue with the certificate or with the movie, it can petition the lodge its petition before the censor board. And the government respects the autonomy of the censor board. But we are not in normal times, and this is not a normal government. It tries to the government of Hindu, and its primary duty, what it tries to convey to the people, is to safeguard the dignity or respect of Hindu sensibilities as it interprets it. So I was not very surprised by the response or reaction of the minister. This movie was certified by the censor board. So all the members of the censor board are responsible for this decision. Now, if he is threatening to take action against those who let this film approved, he is threatening the whole board. And if the board members have any self-respect, they should have either registered their protest or resigned. But as we see that none of the institutions, state institutions or institutions affiliated by the state, have any self-respect left in them. And that is why it has been swallowed, that the minister can openly chide them or scold them, and there is no response from the censor board fellows, which shows that they are not really professionals or experts, and they don't respect themselves. And that's a cause for concern for us. But as we can see that this is not very unique to a censor board, and this is not the first time that we see it happening. Supreme Court, Election Commission, all institutions have now become appendage of this government.
There seems to be divided opinion around the issue, where there are some arguing for free speech and expression in art, others are arguing against it by citing religious sentiments and reasonable limitations to free speech and expression as an argument. We spoke to writer Purushottam Agarwal, who said, and I quote, "Any controversy on the basis of translation is pointless. In Sanskrit, the word kal means both time and death." He also added that this is where the beauty of Indian languages lie. It is deeply philosophical, and I quote him, "By using the same word for time and death, it implies that as soon as you enter time, you are heading towards death." Unquote. Christopher Nolan's biography of the creator of the first atomic bomb has references from the holy text because Oppenheimer was fascinated by Hinduism and the Gita and is believed to have read the text at leisure. He is believed also to have recited a verse from the text after the Trinity test in 1945 that led to the creation of the first atomic bomb. Thank you so much for watching The Wire. For more such videos, keep watching.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.